You're here with the Northwest Showcase on 93.9 KPDQ, sponsored by Day Chiropractic. We're talking with Dr. Day of Day Chiropractic, and we're getting some great information about how chiropractic care can help with concussion after a concussion. And this is great information. Let me just give out your website and your phone number, Dr. Day, in case people would like to call, because daychiropractic.com is a great place to go to find out about your practice and all that you do there. The number is 503-760-7572. That's 503-760-7572. Dr. Day, we were mentioning a young girl, 15 years old, with concussions, and some of the things that she was experiencing, like the memory,
difficulty concentrating,
and the headaches and that kind of thing. So how is chiropractic care able to help her?
So interesting. So then we left off when we were talking about the hockey, that she was a hockey player.
Right.
Okay. Had not been injured in hockey, but had been injured with the falling van door. Okay. Well, they had given her a study 2 months prior to this injury with the van falling on her head. Okay. So they had a baseline that was done prior to her injury. Okay. And that becomes important now as we go through this, because what it gave was something that they knew then what she was like beforehand. Then she goes through the treatment, then they can see how she's doing.
So she was getting chiropractic care when she was well and didn't have a problem.
No, she hadn't. But they had, in the context of playing hockey, they administered this concussion test because some of the because now with kids in a contact sport, they want to find out how they're doing, so that then if they have an incident, they retake the test to find out if their brain is not as well as it was when they were healthy. Right? Does this make sense?
Yes.
So I kind of like that idea, because it's like, oh, that's really good. Well, the problem is it didn't, anyhow. So since the injury, she had quit participating in hockey. So she had been in a high school athletic.
Yeah.
You know, she had to quit playing hockey because of this. She had reduced her time spent on the computer and watching TV. She also stated that her schoolwork had suffered due to her lack of concentration. So her chiropractic examination found subluxations at the occiput, which is the base of the skull, and at C1 bone, so the atlas, right, one of those top two bones that we talked about, right, C5, T6, now T6 is in between her shoulder blades, and right pelvis.
Right pelvis?
Right pelvis.
That's not near her head?
Right, but back to, remember, we're doing a chiropractic evaluation.
Okay.
To take care of people.
Yeah, the whole body approach.
That's right. Wherever the problem is that needs to be fixed, fix it. And don't try to necessarily explain everything, because it's all integrated, all right? Anyhow, so she was placed on a care program of 3 times a week for 2 weeks, and then 2 times a week for 2 weeks, and then once a week for 4 weeks. Okay. The girl reported immediate relief after her first adjustment and continued improvement after her 4th visit. Well, after her 9th visit, she retook the impact test as a follow-up. Her test score significantly improved from the .28 before the injury to .43. On the 12th visit, her status was changed from acute to subacute. After the 13th visit, she reported that she had not had any headaches for the past 3 weeks, and she had no difficulty whatsoever concentrating. Okay, so this kid, after 13 visits. So one of the other things that I see in practice, let's say, in fact, I was talking to one of my patients who we were talking about his child, and it looks like he's going to bring his son in for me to check now.
Okay.
And yeah, I think he's a little worried that he's going to need as much treatment as he and his wife needed, sort of a thing.
Yeah.
And I was able to say, you know what, if we catch these kids young, usually we experience dramatic improvements, whether it's bedwetting or it almost doesn't matter what it is. If it's in these kids and something has gone wrong, I love working with kids because their bodies, it's like, oh my goodness, once they integrate, and then it's like all the baggage that we as adults have in our bodies that keep us from being able to have a fast response. Man, it's fun taking care of kids.
So they react
much better, right? So this is in 13 visits.
Yeah.
Her headaches were gone. Her difficulty concentrating was gone. So if you have a child and they're labeling special needs, or they're not paying attention, or attention deficit, you know, HD, all these stupid things. Now, most of the time in the school districts today, if you have a child in that situation, they're on medication, they're perhaps in a different status in terms of the class. You know, it's just, what a nightmare for some parents. And if you have never thought about chiropractic, or maybe you've had the kid, maybe they fell off their bike and you went in for their low back or something like that. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about looking at their system and trying to fix their problems, you know, and if that's, anyhow, so that needs to be done. So if you have a child like that, don't be afraid of chiropractic. It's a wonderful option.
So chiropractic is not just for adults.
No.
Yeah,
no.
And if you get them young and get these patients in there, then you can help them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love working on kids. Yes. All right, so here's another facial neuralgia. So
now, what is that?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, a lot of times we'll call it trigeminal neuralgia. It's pain in the face or behind the eye, something your cranial nerve 5. You usually have it's just like someone stabbing you, and it's like, oh, it's sore.
What a horrible thing.
It's awful. So there was a kid who was let's see, this was just published in this year, February 23rd of 2015. It was a 10-year-old boy. And he experienced complete resolution of the condition after beginning chiropractic care to correct spinal subluxation. He had been suffering from intense headaches, earaches, neck pain, and extreme facial pain for the previous 4 months. Problems with constipation were also reported.
Which seems like out of the blue.
Right, but as we're talking about, it's probably not out of the blue, is it?
It's the whole person approach. Yes. I'm learning.
His chiropractic exam revealed a right leg length inequality of 1/4 of an inch. So when they lay him down, it's 1/4 of an inch off, so indicating a possible subluxation or misalignment of the first bone in the neck. The atlas. What? You know, how is that? One of the classic evaluations of chiropractic is have a patient lay down, you look at their leg length. You might have them turn their head left or right. If it changes that leg length, then the problem in the leg length may actually be from up in the upper neck. So, kind of fun. Yeah. They did surface EMG, which we also have. Palpation of the boy's spine indicated tenderness to touch in the entire neck region and decreased ranges of motion. And x-rays confirmed the atlas subluxation, so they would have taken an AP open mouth. They would have had to have done that as well. He was placed on a care program 2 visits a week with progressive evaluations done once a month. The boy's mother kept a weekly blog of the patient's pain scale, signs and symptoms, and other findings related to his case. So he had been four months. Your kid is, just headaches, eyes, just feels like someone's stabbing him, right?
That must have been miserable for everyone.
Think of the mom, too, how worried she was
about
the little boy.
Yeah.
The patient continued on that care plan of 2 to 3 visits a week. It was noted that 16 days after the first visit that the patient's eye pain was 100% better. So within just a couple weeks, that pain behind the eye gone. Okay. Neck pain was 50% better. Posture examination found that his structure balanced out to 0 degrees of misalignment. The patient also reported improvement in his bowel problems. The complaints of headaches and sensory integration disorder did not show improvement at this point. So the kid was still having headaches. A lot of the other stuff had gotten better, but the headaches were still.
Behind the eyes
that was
and
gone.
all that?
Yeah,
okay.
A lot of the pain in the face and all that sort of stuff. That was going away. All right. At the progressive evaluation performed 6 months later, the ear pain was reported to have resolved, and all other associated symptoms had improved significantly. The authors report the boy has been pain-free for over 1.5 years since beginning chiropractic care, and this indicates the need for further research. I mean, I still have a patient right now. I mean, this was her problem, trigeminal neuralgia, and she's now been a patient. I've taken care of her kids. I mean, she's probably been a patient 20 years, but that was, I'll never forget. It's one of the that's when I first met her. She was hurting so so bad. It was just one of those things, and you go, it's something you never want to have.
Right, right.
And so chiropractic was something that changed this little boy, and it changed her life as well.
It must be so gratifying to you to see these changes in your patients. I mean, when they get better through the chiropractic care that you give them. I mean, how satisfying is that for you to see that improvement in people's lives and to bring that joy back to their life where they can live without that pain?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, like, I now if I go to a restaurant, I see people in these wheelchairs, and you see people who are confined to chronic pain, where their life is nothing like what they envisioned their life to be.
Yeah.
And you wonder, and you know that some of these people had what we did not worked. They were going to end up like some of these other people, and it's like, wow. It is really incredible.
Well, it is worth certainly coming to see you, and for $25, getting started with care from Dr. David Day, Day Chiropractic. You're celebrating the Cinco de Mayo special that you've got going on. That starts tomorrow.
There's no reason to not come in.
Through the 15th of May.
Absolutely.
$25 gets you started, and you do
the adjustments are $45. It's not that much money, and it might be an inconvenience for you, but please, I mean, if this changes your life, it's well worth it.
It's worth it. Because who would want to go through life with the pain and suffering of some of these conditions?
I think people think that they're resigned to it. A lot of times they believe,
I think so.
or fibromyalgia, any of these sorts of things, they think they have that, and they're going to have to deal with it the rest of their lives.
Well, thank you, Dr. Day, for being here today, because you've given us so much great information. At $25, get on that new patient special there, and call Dr. Day, 503-760-7572. That's 503 503-760-7572. daychiropractic.com is the website. You can check that out. And also, feel free to go to the website and see some of these programs that we've had and get your questions answered. Call that number, 503-760-7572. Thank you, Dr. Day, for being here. Always a pleasure to have you. Day Chiropractic. And thank you to James for engineering today. I'm Mary Shepard. This has been the Northwest Showcase on 93.9 KPDQ.